Hi everyone, my name is Zach Spicer and I'm the head of New College and welcome back to another video of three questions. And we are here today with Anna Artyushina, who graduated from York with her PhD and founded her own company. We're always interested in exploring different pathways around career development. Getting a job in the academic world is certainly one path. Getting a job outside is another, but starting your own business is something that is super exciting and a viable opportunity for those graduating with either an MA or a PhD. Anna, welcome.
Oh, hello, Zach. Thank you for having me.
Could you tell us a little bit about your journey through and after the PhD at York?
Yes, so I graduated in 2023 with a PhD in data governance slash STS. And I mean, I was at York for 7 years. And during that time, I was doing research, I was doing consulting, mostly government policy work. And I was seriously considering doing accepting government job or maybe you know, proceeding with my academic career. And then I would say at some point I started thinking that maybe I just want to do something else. And I think the main reason I started doing what I do now, and right now I'm a co-founder and CEO of a tech company called LemonTech. We're a software company. I will tell a little bit more about that. But the reason I started doing that, I was writing about the economy of data governance and mostly about harmful practices, privacy violations, and it was fairly depressing field. And the more I learned about it, the more I was thinking that can we do something else? Can we do something useful with this data? And I think my first idea of doing something practical came up when I was in my third or fourth year, and I was writing about Google Smart City project, Sidewalk Toronto, or Quayside. And I was invited to be on the advisory committee for the city of Toronto to review the project. And at this point, I realized that I was quite enjoying that. I wanted to do something practical. I want to see my work implemented in the outside world. And after that, I've done several policy gigs, some consulting in the commercial sector. And I think at that point I was not yet ready to leave academia. But then I had my postdoc, I had my postdoc, and then I realized that I could do it. I could do something else. And I mean, we have several products in the works, and I think what I'm doing now, I'm fairly happy about that because I think we're making change. We're doing something positive with the data, something new in the space which is typically occupied by the big companies extracting data for their own benefit. So I'm hoping my work would be useful, including my critical data studies, something that I'm bringing into this field. It was a long answer.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much. So what does your average day look like now?
Oh, it's a good question, actually. I've never done so many meetings in my entire life. So just to give you a bit more background about myself, I've spent 15 years in academia because I was a lecturer in Russia before coming to the States. I studied at Cornell University, then I moved to Canada, and then here I did my PhD. I was teaching, I was doing research, and then academia is a wonderful place for making friends, and I found some amazing connections among the people I co-written the papers. I was co-organizer of some conference. It was fun. It was fun, but at the same time, I think PhD can be a fairly lonely journey because you spend a considerable amount of time writing and thinking. And as one of my supervisors used to say, you need to clear out everything and get some time to think. And I think this is right. You need some time to think. And I think right now my life is more, I've done a lot of hiring in the past 6 months. Um, and I mean, I have to communicate with many more people than I used to. And it's been a bit of a learning curve for me, especially because I think in academia we have a different dynamic to our communications. We write texts, we apply for grants together. And right now I meet different people, and I receive lots of requests from academics actually who are looking for a job. And I want to help everybody. This is like my natural intention, but unfortunately there are some resources. I'm limited with them. I have other resources I can help with. And so I'm learning to kind of manage my day the way so I can use my time responsibly and, help everybody can build a product. So I would say some of my days are mostly meetings with my employees, with the people who are trying to sell me something, with the people who are looking for a job, and maybe we will do something together. But at this point, I'm not ready to offer the employment. I'm helping them. Like I have a development team, people who are seasoned software developers, and I'm helping them. So I'm trying to educate myself more on the software part of our job because it's important. Though I'm not doing like the biggest load of software development. That's not me, that's them. So I think at this point it's very exciting, but also a bit of a crazy time. And I wouldn't say that I have a good work-life balance at this point, because basically I'm sort of have to micromanage many things just because we're still figuring things out with how to do marketing for our products, with how like with the development, with the design, everything. So I'm trying to maybe use this time to learn to delegate things too. So that's my day. Very crazy, typically.
Sounds that way. Thank you. As you were starting your own company, what challenges did you encounter? What should students who are considering a similar path know at the outset of their journey?
Well, I've been thinking about it, and I think this is the most exciting time to join the tech market, actually. Um, and I think for myself, the biggest challenge was to change my mindset because for so many years I was preparing myself for a professorship. I mean, I didn't even consider other options, like not seriously, really. And I think there was also this, I don't want to say stigma, but kind of like I've read a lot of stuff about Silicon Valley and how it's toxic, especially for women, and how it's hard to, get things done. And then when I started meeting with the people, when I started actually working in this space, what I discovered was completely different. And I think one reason for that is that the job market and like the labor force and technology industry is changing. It has changed dramatically over the last, I would say, 5 years. Many people from academia actually migrate into tech world, and I mentioned this to you before. Several people in my company have PhDs. I mean, on one on one part, this is my natural intention to hire academics because I'm coming from academia, but that's not the main reason. So many people are looking for jobs now. So many people are strained with their academic careers. And I think this migration from academia to technology world, it has some positive consequences. Specifically, I would say the tech world has become more humane, maybe. I see more people who are trying to do good stuff and people who are maybe less, I mean, like we know there is this type of mindset in the tech world, what we call like tech bros. It still exists for sure, but I also see people who say they were in academia that, or maybe they spent some time in the government job and they decided to migrate into the industry. And in many cases, they actually they combine these two fields. They come in from social sciences, or they come in from some critical perspectives in policy studies, for instance. And at the same time, they've acquired some technical qualifications in software and product development and product design. And then these coming together, this is incredible because you meet the most interesting people who are bringing the best from academia into the tech world. And this is my experience, and I'm very, very happy about that. So I would say for the people who are hesitating, who are like for maybe they have reasons to consider other career path apart from academia, but they have reservations as to, I mean, am I losing all my academic connections? Will I be lonely? What happens if I meet these tech guys and they hate me? That's not going to happen. You will see different people, and you'll see many more people coming from the same field as you did. So I think this is very, very interesting thing. Yeah.
And so, as you were starting out, where did you turn for support?
Um, I think I've been very lucky with my academic support all these years. And at the same time, I think, I mean, my transition to software, it was to some extent predestined to happen because I'm married to a software developer, and most of our friends, our family friends, worked with software. And like all these years, I was doing this work, and I was also watching them, like a field work, unintentional field research. And then when I decided to do that, when I decided that I wanted to start a company and I wanted to build products that I would personally use and I would not be ashamed to promote and enjoy using them, I think for me it was just an easy slide. And I would say, as a piece of advice for my fellow academics, I would say it is very good strategy to keep your mind open and maybe try and build connections to the people outside of academia, because it is so complicated. And I remember myself, I was doing, quite a few interviews when I was doing research on smart cities and data governance. And one of the questions was always, how do you do the life balance thing? I didn't. Like, most of my whole life was academia. And like we had a little girl, and I was trying to manage all that, but mostly I was just writing at night. That's how I managed stuff. And I think when you live in this academic bubble, as each year passes, it becomes quite complicated, to find people outside of the bubble and maybe to see yourself outside of this world. So I would say try and connect with the people who left academia and see how they're doing and listen to their stories, and maybe, I don't know, do an internship, do some consulting. Because like I said, for me, consulting was a big step outside of academia. There was something else I think I want to mention. So for my postdoctoral research, I did this fascinating study commissioned by the city of Vancouver, by TransLink, part of the city of Vancouver. So I traveled to South Korea to study their public transit, and it was mind blowing because I had been writing about smart cities for, I don't know, 6 years, 7 years by that time. And in most cases, I was writing critical stuff. I know you, Zach, doing like something else. You're writing about good smart cities, which is wonderful. But I think I was sort of single-minded and focused on how things go wrong. Almost always they do with the smart city stuff. And then I came to Korea and I saw that basically, I don't want to sound stereotypical. Yeah, they do live in the next century. So you can do so much more with the data, especially if you have a good um, public data, if you know how to do that, if you have companies which are under strict regulations, which are operate in good faith. This is incredible. And so for me, I think it was a transformative experience. I started thinking that we should have this. We should have all this in Canada. This is wonderful. Their public transit, the way they handle government data, everything can be online, secure. Because, for us, it's always privacy or security, this false dichotomy. We always hear that, but it doesn't have to be that. It doesn't have to be that bad. And so I think, yes, so, exploring things outside of academia, outside of your field, and maybe trying and kind of broaden your vision. Because once again, being an academic, you kind of you live within a specific field, and even within this field, you live within a specific type of view. Like all of your colleagues, they're writing like things from a certain perspective, which is not bad. It's just how it is. So thinking, beyond these limits, I think this definitely helps to find your way outside of academia if you want to. And also, I think I was just recently had this conversation with a PhD student who's considering leaving academia. And so I told her that it doesn't have to be a major life-changing decision, because quite often, again, academics would think about this as I'm leaving and I'm out. I mean, I will be lost forever. It doesn't have to be that bad. You can come back. And I think people who did this transition, who say, I don't know, they did academic, they used to have academic career, went to the public sector, came back, or they went to the private sector, came back. It can be very useful, and it can be very useful for you as a teacher as well, as someone who knows something about the real world, where things are messier and they do not always work the way we expect them to. Sorry, that's another long answer.
That was fantastic. Thank you so much. And with that, just big thank you for your time today. Thank you for sharing some of your experiences and your insight with our students. So thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. I hope it's going to be helpful for somebody. Thank you, Zach. Thank you.